Hey internets, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is Dawnbringers, the Forge of Fury. But tonight, it is not a regular campaign game. This is what we are calling a side quest adventure. And I forgot I was going to put a graphic up top, but that's fine. It'll be on the thumbnail on the YouTube video, and it was in the promo video today that also announced that along with it being a side quest adventure, we are joined by special guest Steven from Castle Mac.
Me?
If you guys are regulars to the channel, and I already see some Macolites in the chat as well, you will know that Castle Mac and Mini Terrain Domain, you could say that we are shield brethren. Our channels have been probably for about 6 months now. I think it was last summer when we sort of met over a mutual love affair of the Arcane Libraries materials, and we've been friends since, and a little bit of crossing the streams has been happening. So I'm very excited that at the literally less than 24 hours ago, I messaged Steven to see if he would be available for tonight. Because
I'm glad I could be.
We are absolutely glad to have you here. And tonight we are going to do something, what the side quest is. We did it on our Tomb of Annihilation stream. It's a way that allows us to continue to play and continue to stream and play a D&D game when we don't have the whole party available and we don't really want the story to progress without them. So the way I've been doing these side quests is everybody here is basically playing their usual Forge of Fury Dawnbringers characters. So Megan will be playing Fig, and Ted is Thorgarn, and Talmud as Talmud is Talmud. Jeremy, you are Talmud. Jeremy is Talmud, and V is Cantriel, who I call her Cantriel in just about every game we play, it seems.
Yeah.
But
this is not being Vi.
Right. Yeah. In season 1, Megan was playing a character named Vi. So I kept mixing those up as well. And then Steven will be playing a character that we'll introduce in a few moments. So real quick, because we're going to keep the announcements minimal, I'm going to touch on a couple things that do not appear in the promo reel during the 10-minute break that we take midway through. There are chat commands. You can type ! Chat commands to see what all they are. But right now I'm typing 10K giveaway in an effort to get the YouTube channel up to 10,000 subscribers. I am giving away 3 Game Masters bundles. Each bundle includes a 5th edition D&D starter set, a set of 6 miniatures that match the pre-gens in the starter set, 6 sets of dice to go along with that, and then 1 lucky winner in addition to all of that will receive a core rulebook set, including the Player's Handbook, the Monster Manual, the Dungeon Master's Guide, and the Dungeon Master Screen Reincarnated. All you have to do is follow that link and enter for free, and there's multiple ways that you can enter into that as well, to have multiple entries. And it's out a little ways because I want to do the drawing on my birthday. So we'll be doing the drawing on April 16th. There are already quite a few people entered into that. I know we're getting well over 1,000 entries. But there are several ways you can enter per person. Down below, we have a scroll that explains how the domain dice work. Up above my head, you can see that the players have 21 domain dice. It's kind of nice having Steven here because they're divine. What do you call them on your channel again? The divine rerolls? You're muted, Steven.
Gotta get used to using Zoom again.
It's the seat. It's the seat. Yeah. Scotty does it all the time.
Yeah, that's it. Divine advantage.
So I kind of riffed off of that when, thanks to a super fan who insisted on, at the time, donating quite a bit to the stream, our good friend Chameleon Fam, who is our patron, and it is a couple of these benefits of domain dice are actually at his suggestion, including for 5 domain dice, it is the Patron's Blessing. You can turn any hit into a super critical, which is automatic max double damage. But it costs 5 dice to do that. Also over there, thanks Jeremy for putting up the ping that shows how you can purchase domain dice for the players and what they do at all different levels. All right, that's enough about those kind of rules and stuff. There's going to be some an advertisement that we'll play at the break that explains a few other things, promotes a couple channels and whatnot. So let's get into playing some Dungeons and Dragons. So in this alternate version of Dawnbringers, you all successfully conquered the Sunless Citadel. Sunless Citadel, when you were making your way through it, Fig, you were a part of the party that went through and defeated the forces in the Sunless Citadel. You found that when you got to the Twilight Grove, there was a brother and sister, 2 evil druids by the name of Vi and Belloc, that were at the heart of the problem. One of the heroes that had been converted by the Gulthias tree and that you had to fight and ultimately kill was a man known as Lord Griveth Langsmire of the Knight's Might. It has been quite a while since you defeated that force, and you are also joined in the process of fighting through the Sunless Citadel. You picked up a new party member, and joining your party is Meepo, the Kobold Rogue, played by Steven.
Meepo help you.
Meepo has survived, and I think it's worth noting that none of the players knew that Steven would be playing Meepo tonight. I deliberately waited to reveal that until this moment. So your band of adventurers is now, after the events that transpired of the Sunless Citadel, you eventually all made your way out of Oakhurst because Talmud had found connections back in Blazing Dell and to the Stone's Tooth and seeking out. You're just beginning thinking about how you're going to approach the Forge of Fury. What you've been hearing about the Durgan the Black, the famed blacksmith, and all of these things. And so you all, the 5 of you, have been in Blazing Dell for about a week. So what I would like you to do, since I did not really, the players didn't have a chance to prep for any of this. So with the new information that you have, I would like to go around and have each of you tell us the state of your character, what maybe is different than how we know each of your characters, and sort of introduce your character and what's going through your head as you're planning the next stage of your adventure. And we're going to start over here to my left with, sorry, my screen's cropped a little bit, with Cantriel.
Oh, this is going to be a doozy now because the whole Griveth element's out of the mix. So, all right, I think Cantriel would probably be more of a little bit more driven now because she's proven to herself that she can face the foes and get things done and actually hold her own in a battle. And she'd actually be looking for adventure now as opposed to just wandering from place to place, tavern to tavern, singing to be paid for her talents type of thing.
And I realize now that I forgot to update your status. I used the old overlay when I modified it for Steven, that you are actually a bard. Oh boy.
What's happening? Identity crisis.
Who remembers the order in which we did this?
I know I was last.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think if Steven and Megan, if you turn your cameras off, Megan, turn yours. Oh wait, yeah, Ted. So Megan, nope. Ted, turn yours off. Megan, turn yours on. Then Ted, then Steven.
Then Steve.
Megan has that guilty look on her face, like she knows she pushed the wrong button.
No, my internet just like
oh, your internet's just glitched.
Yeah,
It's no worry. It's no worry. But yeah, my what I was saying was you are actually Cantriel, a bard ranger at this point.
Yeah. Yes.
Multi-classed, and just so everybody knows, the characters are at level 5. Talmud, tell us what's going on with you.
Excuse me. Talmud, I think, is a little more sinister looking. He's got a really nasty scar that kind of passes up the left-hand side of his head and interrupts his hairline by quite a bit. So that half of his head is kind of shaved, and there's a lot more tattooing, like on his face and on the back of his head. And I think there's Gerta is 2 pieces at this point. So he wields the head portion of Gerta in one hand, and the other, the remainder of the haft, kind of as a club in his second hand.
Interesting. So you hold the head in your hand and wield it that way?
I imagine there was probably 8 inches, 10 inches of handle left beneath the head, and that's what he holds it by.
Talmud says it's 8 or 10 inches. It's more like 5 or 6.
Talmud has big hands. It helps.
So all right.
That's what's called wishful thinking.
I'm glad to see that some things won't change.
Thorgarn.
So am I to assume that I traveled with the rest of them in the Citadel? I didn't join later?
That is correct. You also, like Fig, you were a part of the adventurers in the Sunless Citadel.
So in this timeline, he would have obviously, either left or been kicked out of the priesthood and went and traveled with his cousin and went and did some glorious deeds. So he is not as spiritual, as religious, did not have any of the typical death. He's out, instead of trying to help people, he's out for battle and for glory. And without having traveled with the other people, his magical warhammer he obviously wouldn't have unless he got that some other way.
No, but actually, what you do have is when you all killed Griveth, you acquired Shatterspike.
Oh,
it is a +1 longsword that whenever you strike a physical object, it counts as a critical hit against the physical object.
Okay. So then he would, instead of wielding a warhammer and war pick, he would be wielding his the longsword and war pick. But his face isn't all burned up and scarred, so he doesn't have a mohawk. He's got the full thick head of hair going down to the middle of his back. So he's so Talmud in this case wound up taking the head scars in Thorgarn's place.
All right, and Fig, the Clockwork Wizard, you've been with this group the whole time.
So Fig would have come to you as this almost very naive infant-like thing, with no sense of emotion or why people do the things that they do. but since traveling with you, Fig has learned a lot and has actually come into his own quite a bit, actually beginning to show his own emotion, being able to kind of take what he has learned and is actually starting to act more human, and you can just tell he is so overjoyed by that fact. And he I actually think that he would have just this incredibly close bond with all of you. Maybe to the point of perhaps being annoying and bothersome at some points, just because he is so grateful that you have shown him such kindness and that he has never had to deal with any sort of like negativity or people treating him badly without the support of his friends. So I think that's where he is.
Can I ask something of Fig?
Mm.
If you're traveling with two very aggressive, almost battle-thirsty dwarves, has any of that sunk into the clockwork wizard?
I think so. I think he definitely he's grown a taste for ale, even though he has no need to drink it at all. But he will pretend to drink it, and I think that he is right along fighting beside you guys with a lot of enthusiasm, for sure.
Talmud, do you remember the name of the old dwarven ale that you had gotten a hold of early on?
Yes, it's Kiergan.
Kiergan. You and Thorgarn, because he was with you, each of you have 6 bottles of Kiergan. Kiergan is a powerful ancient dwarven ale. Anybody who drinks it must make a Constitution saving throw when they drink a bottle of this. And finally, rescued from the near-death experience involving Kelstrix, the white dragon wormling in the Sunless Citadel, who actually was instrumental in preventing the dragon from killing you all, and who joined your party, Meepo. Tell us about Meepo.
Well, Meepo has really grown into his own here. This is his time to shine. He had a lot to make up for, He had a rough time having Calcrix stolen by those nasty goblins, surviving her wrath, and on behalf of the Kobold Society remaining in the Citadel, he wants to go make a name for himself and his people.
In this timeline, the seeing the brave acts that Meepo performed, Yggdrasil has appointed Meepo as an emissary to the world to represent the kobolds.
I think Meepo has a little shining emblem pinned proudly to his little chest that he wears as an emissary of the kobolds. And he walks with his chest puffed out and his chin held high. His little snout is held high.
And so the 5 of you find yourselves in a tavern in Blazingdell, deciding what your next move is going to be. You know that orcs have been harrying the town, though not nearly as aggressive in the alternate timeline. They just make occasional forays into testing the defenses, and you have been told that orcs are holed up at the Stone Tooth. In this version of Blazingdell, there is a noble elite that rules the town. So it is not at all uncommon to see Githyanki walking around. The Githyanki are the majority of the noble elite. The town is actually ruled over by a woman known as the High Lady Evangeline de Vantage. She is not a mayor. She's not a governor. She's just the High Lady of Blazing Dell. Blazing Dell is a wealthy mining town. In this version, this timeline, Blazing Dell owns the Mithril mines nearby. As you are all sitting around in this tavern, where you have just met with some representatives of the town, a sort of council of 6 Githyanki that represent the High Lady, that told you and basically hired you to seek out what is happening at the Forge of Fury. As you came in the town, your reputations had sort of preceded you, and you met with the council fairly early when you arrived at town. So you have not been in town very long at all. What would the 5 of you, what is the conversation? Let's slip into this scene as the 5 of you are sitting here in this tavern. And we'll say it's about midday, just a little bit past the normal, maybe it's the middle of the lunch hour. So food and drink are being served.
So this is not the town that we, rescued, and got glory from the Sunless Citadel. This is the town that we started in for campaign 2, correct?
Yes.
All right. Awesome.
Yes, this is Blazing Dell, not Oakhurst.
Awesome. Thank you.
Meepo would be lamenting the fact that he doesn't really like the surface dweller ale. No, Meepo misses mushroom wine. We brew some together.
No, Meeple. I've told you once. I've told you 100 times. It's not a good idea.
No, why? No, this drink made of wheat. Ugh. No.
The other shit that you drink makes you go blind.
It also makes you start seeing things.
Before you go blind.
This is true.
How do you see things and go blind at the same time?
It's all in your head.
Doesn't one thing kind of contradict the other?
Not if it's all up here.
I had it happen to a friend of mine, as a matter of fact.
Meepo is also confused.
So I'm fairly certain that we should look to do something to kind of get these people to know who we are and do something that we can get celebrations here like we had back in Oakhurst.
Oh, well then breaking someone's legs would be a bad idea.
No, not that kind of recognition. Glory, fame.
You worried about your 15 minutes already?
Didn't you like the celebration? Didn't you like the recognition?
Yes, but I get that every night on stage anyways.
Well, we all can't sing like you.
Meepo could.
You've heard me try, but you didn't like it.
It was a valiant effort, I'll give you that.
So, what do we do?
We could ask for problems town is facing, and Meepo and company solve them.
That sounds an awful lot like using words.
But not in the solving. We use the stabbies to solve. Meepo good at that.
Yes, Meepo's very good at that.
Bad luck.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going on around us? Are there any town criers? Are there any interesting people wandering around? Anything that seems out of place?
Well, there's no town criers in the tavern. But there's a primarily at this lunch hour, there's a few merchants here in the area. There are a few older retired looking dwarves and humans that have the worn look of miners. Most of the actual miners take their lunch down in the Mithril Caves. So it's a decent crowd, not too bad. Everybody give me a perception check.
Oh my word. Natural 20. So 21.
9. Meepo's going blind with this wheat beverage.
10. Cantriel's a bit distracted at the moment, I guess.
I got a 4.
This really is an alternate reality.
Nice.
I got a 17.
Thorgarn and Talmud, you both notice that there is a dwarf with long, flowing, gray, almost white hair. One of the oldest dwarves in Blazing Dell, long retired from the Mithril mines. One eye missing, a solid chunk of mithril in the socket instead of a patch. A couple of teeth that are missing are replaced with mithril. One arm missing below the left elbow. Grizzled, wrinkled lines in the face. And with that one good eye, Thessalandra stares at you from across the tavern.
Thessalandra?
Yes, she is a legendary miner of Blazing Dell.
So she's staring at me or at us?
She's staring at your table. She's making no secret that she's staring at it, but the two of you have noticed it.
So I will kind of rise to kind of look in her direction, give her a nod as if I've acknowledged it, but I'm not gonna go over. She's a bit much.
Talmud, do you do anything?
Yeah, he kind of notices this, and there's like 2 or 3 takes in that direction before he like reaches over and tugs on some of Thorgar's clothing. Thorgarn,
Yeah.
did you did you happen to notice who's sitting across the room from us over there?
I do believe she's staring at us. Yes.
Yes, I thought so. I didn't want to presume, but yes, we should go talk to her, right?
Why?
Half of her face is worth more than we make in a year, cousin.
Oh, and this means what?
She may have work for us.
I thought you were going to suggest I should steal part of her face, but work is better.
Yes.
No,
but maybe if it doesn't work out.
You don't want to mess with her. Well, just look at her. She beat you senseless.
Talmud, make a history check.
So anybody that wants to beat in on Thorgarn here, he's intimidated by her for sure.
Got an 8.
Okay.
So
Maybe she needs heroes.
Or are you just looking for a reason to talk to her, Thorgarn?
Talmud's saying to go talk to her.
Well, why don't you do the talking? You're the charmer of the group.
You're the what?
Fig would turn to Cantriel. His face makes the appearance that he seems to be a bit nervous. Unaware? Pensive? No. We'll just go with nervous.
Yeah, sometimes a nervous man can be rather endearing, though, to a strong woman.
So what are we doing?
You're going up to talk to her.
Oh, crap.
You hear the sound of the sort of sound of wooden chair legs scraping against wooden planks as Thessalandra pushes her chair back from her table. And as she begins to walk towards you, you hear this sort of click, thump, as she has a wooden leg. As she walks over to your table, a huge beer stein in one hand.
So as the chair pushes back, I quick, look at Talmud. How's my beard? Is the braid tight? How's my hair?
Yes, you look fine. Here, wait. And he splashes his beard like straight into Thorgarn's beard and starts like trying to like tame it.
And after that, soppy, drippy mess from my beard, I'll try to, stand up and brush myself off, and again look in the direction of her coming over.
As you do this, you turn and she's immediately right next to you.
Good day, my lady.
Ain't nobody ever called me a lady.
And she spits a big wad of tobacco onto the floor.
Never been accused as such. Right. It taken you way too damn long to get yourself over to talk to me. I was down there staring the hole in the back of your head, Talmud.
You know my name? Yes, you, of course. I was letting you approach us. It seemed to be that though you were the one who wanted to initiate. It's very nice to meet you. He extends his hand out.
Let me tell you, Talmud, a piece of advice. And I can tell you it works because your grandfather followed this own advice a couple 100 years back when he and I used to hook up. If you see something you like or you see something you want, go for it. And you make that face again 200 years ago, you'd want to hook up with me too. I guarantee it.
I believe you. I think, have I introduced you to my cousin?
What is it that we can do for you, then?
You're supposed to drink your beer, Thorgarn, not wear it in your beard.
Well, oops.
She turns, pivoting on her wooden foot, and walks around the table towards Fig. There's a heavy sound of metal on metal as she thumps you in the chest with her beer stein. Tung, tung.
Aye, you must be the one called Fig. Can't say as I've ever seen something like you.
I get that reaction a lot. Thank you.
I bet you do. Cantriel. Though I've not heard it, it's said that you have the voice of an angel.
Yes, but she's promised to give it back when she's done.
There is no promise there. Might have been a passing comment.
And you must be the one they call Meepo.
I am the hero, Meepo.
The hero. if it wasn't for the fact that, based on that emblem on your chest, that you come from the clan of Yggdrasil, I'd personally put me axe right through your head. I feckin' hate kobolds. Except for Yggdrasil's clan.
But not Meepo. Meepo hero.
Careful, friend. Talmud kind of levels a gaze in her direction as he kind of like puts an arm between their conversation on the table.
As Talmud does that, Cantriel brushes her hand down his back, and she's going to give him some bardic inspiration with just a quick touch.
I said if you wasn't a part of Yggdrasil's clan, I'd split your skull with me axe. Back in the day, Yggdrasil saved some of me people down in the mines. And for that, I've always been indebted to her. So if you are one of Yggdrasil's clan, I suppose you're alright. I can't say that all dwarves around here will share that sentiment, though.
Meepo, all right.
Now, to the real reason I've come here. Talmud and Thorgarn.
Aye.
You're from Placingdale. You grew up here. You know about the noble elite. You know about the high rule of the High Lady Evangeline.
And she says this with a sort of contempt in her voice as she says it.
I'm old enough to remember when the High Lady came to this town. Before yous was ever born. Used to be dwarves ruled this town. Now, she and her Gith elite rule this town and claim most of the profits. Here's the thing. Very soon, you are all about to be brought before her. In about 10 minutes, a guard of Githyanki soldiers is going to come in here. They are going to demand your presence in front of the High Lady. She's going to take you to task for crimes she's imagined you've committed.
I look over to Talmud, and I'm kind of confused. Like, did we do something wrong?
No, I don't think we did anything wrong.
It doesn't matter whether you did something right or wrong. It's all subjective to the point of view of the person making the accusations, in this case, the High Lady Evangeline. She sees that you've done something wrong and wants to take you to task for it.
So do we? Are you saying we need to get out? Or
No.
saying to pull our weapons and start fighting?
No. She is surrounded by her Githyanki guards at all times. But the 5 of you is about to be given an opportunity that nobody has ever been given. You're going to be in close quarters with her. You have an opportunity. You could take her out for us.
That's
There's a good chance you'd probably die in the process. But you'd be liberating Blazingdale.
May I ask what types of crimes that she has committed against the people?
Oppression.
In what regards, may I ask?
Thorgarn and Talmud, you know that the High Lady and the noble elite have always owned the mines and have always claimed the lion's share of the profits. The miners themselves are caught in a perpetual cycle of working and somehow finding themselves deeper in debt and having to work to pay off that debt to the noble elite.
So, Fig, the basics, it boils down to if you're a dwarf, you're kind of a lesser citizen and you're stuck in the mines, you got to work, and there's really no way out of it. And, lady up there winds up, sitting pretty with all the money.
Meepo
Huh.
knows what it feels like to be lower citizen. Meepo help.
I believe I read a book like this once, except they didn't kill the one in charge. He more acquired their wealth and redistributed amongst the rest. Perhaps we could do something like that instead of something more violent. And Fig is kind of looking towards the others.
When you're like something
Violence is fine.
less violent, Thorgarn, kind of looks at you with a perplexed look, like, no, I like violence.
I am also in favor of violence. However, there's another important thing that I am in favor of, and that's what we're getting paid for taking such a risk.
Well, I mean, you kind of take down the leader, then you kind of get the treasury, doesn't it? Doesn't that work that way?
Well, Talmud's right. Probably best to get it in writing of some sort, at least said what we'd get paid for if it's successful.
This is
Some
the
of
only
that
form.
treasury should go to the people she's oppressed.
Well, a portion.
This is the only form of writing you're gonna need.
And she flips a coin onto the table. A bright, almost white flash of silvery metal as a mithril coin lands and sort of spins. There's an emblem on this coin, which is about an inch across, that it has etched. The coin has etched into it a pickaxe. Mithril coins are not a normal thing. Mithril's never been minted for coinage, at least not in traditional sense. Thorgarn and Talmud, make me a history check at advantage. The rest of you make me a history check.
I think there's probably also that moment where both Talmud and Thorgarn go for the coin, and they're doing the catching each other's fist.
Absolutely. That is my second natural 20 for the night.
All right.
Meepo got a 17.
Go ahead and get those out of here, or out of the way right now.
Was with a different die and it was with advantage, so it's.
What did Meepo get?
17.
I got a 15.
16.
24.
Whoa!
Meepo has no clue. Fig, I imagine, probably learned of this in the many, many tomes that you absorbed in all those years you were trapped underwater in the wizard's sunken tower. Thorgarn, Talmud, you've heard the stories. Thorgarn, you definitely know about the legends of the Mithril Picts, which are a secret society of dwarves that have long sought to overthrow the regime in Blazing Dell and elsewhere, to take back the mines for the people. And the legends say that their symbol is a pickaxe stamped into mithril coins. As Talmud and Thorgarn are both sort of going for this mithril coin, a heavy bag lands on the table, almost landing on your hand. it sort of comes open, and you can see inside several more of these mithril coins.
30 pieces of mithril to do the deed.
So you are part of the secret organization of dwarves, are you not?
It's not so secret if you keep blabbing about it. But you've got nothing to worry about here.
She gives a whistle, made extra sharp as the air whistles past two mithril teeth. The bartender reaches up where there is a wooden, it's one of those like where it's about maybe an 18-inch slab of wood, like just cut from a section of tree, and the tavern's logo is burned into it. He reaches up and he spins it on its chain, turns it around, and as he moves it to a certain angle, light reflects off of the mithril inlay, where you can see the mithril pickaxe encircled in mithril on this. This is clearly a mithril picks friendly tavern.
It's like we chose well and places to drink tonight.
Right. You chose where you would drink today. Well,
Didn't we? Talmud? Did somebody tell us to come here?
it looks like our time is up. Use your time wisely. Don't let them see those coins before it's time.
Bag has been scooped off the table.
She pivots on her peg leg and disappears back into the corner. The bartender quickly turns the sign around back the way it was as the doors to the tavern open, and you hear the staccato of marching feet as two files of soldiers, Githyanki soldiers in armor, march into the tavern. Half of them wield shields and swords, the other half spears.
So in haste to try and get back to my seat to look like, oh yeah, I wasn't doing anything, I totally fall on my arse and make a fool of myself.
They don't seem to make any acknowledgement of it. As the 12 of them file in and sort of form almost like a V leading toward the door, a 13th Gith walks in heavy plate.
You are the ones known as the Dawnbringers.
It's not a question.
The High Lady Evangeline Devantage has requested your presence.
I would advise you to get on your feet immediately, and you will come with us. If you make any move to unsheath your weapons, you will find your arms pinned to your sides by spears, and we will drag you there.
That doesn't sound like fun.
All of you, on your feet, and come with us.
Talmud stands, gathers his things together, and as he's kind of going around the table to head towards the front door, he walks past one of the Gith, and he kind of almost like does like a half start in his direction, and then turns and walks back to where they're supposed to be waiting.
Make a intimidation check.
Okay.
Don't forget your bardic.
Oh yes, perfect. Is a D6, right? Ooh, that's a good start. Okay.
Come on, 6.
Okay, that is going to be a 22.
Nice.
A 22 versus. All right. Let's see. That's this guy here. It's not much, but you catch him, the soldier, off guard just enough that he sort of flinches just a little bit. The commander of this detail just whips his head and gives him a look, and he snaps even straighter to attention. What about the rest of you? Does everybody get up and fall in line, or is somebody, Thorgarn, going to cause problems?
Cantriel is just going to stand up and, basically slowly and surely and sort of waltz over, looking over the other guards slyly, winks at one, and then I'll go stand next to Talmud.
Slowly but surely, I pick myself up and, meander over, keeping my hands away from the plethora of weapons strapped to my back or side or wherever I have them all.
Meepo would fall in line, but with his little snout held high, as if like, I'm doing this because I want to do it, not because you told me to.
Fig is also going to stand up, but he is going to try and subtly point a finger at Cantriel, and you hear Fig's voice in your head. Well, she didn't give us a lot of time to plan. I get that the other three seem to be very gung-ho about this, but you did not make your opinion known. And I think that should be taken into account as well.
So, does everybody fall in line then? Once you all sort of fall in line, the soldiers begin to sort of walk through the door in a staggered way and kind of lead you through the door into the streets of Blazingdale. You are... The 5 of you are encircled. The 6 soldiers on either side form a sort of almost like a parentheses around you, with a couple of them in front of you and then the commander behind you. Everybody in town stops to watch as the 5 of you are led through the streets of Blazingdale towards the district of the nobles, which is known as the Mithril District. The far northern side of town. It takes about 10 minutes to walk you there. The largest estate belonging to the High Lady. You are led up to the front entrance. The guards that are leading you, all save for the commander, do not enter. But as soon as you are led in through the doors, another group of a dozen soldiers takes up the escort duty. The floors and the halls ring with the mixed sound of the armored footsteps of the Gith soldiers and your own footsteps. This hall is about 20 foot wide, a black and white checkerboard marble pattern on the floor as you are marched along this long palatial hallway and into, at the end of it is a set of large oak doors inlaid with mithril. The doors open seemingly of their own accord into a grand audience chamber.
So the new guards, the new 12 that are, escorting us, are they armed or armored any differently? Do they they giving, off any more confidence? Anything we should be like, yeah, this just isn't feasible?
They're very disciplined and very alert.
Okay.
And as you enter the audience chamber, you can see that there are probably another dozen or so of these guards that are standing all around, mixed in with the usual courtesans of a royal palace. There are people everywhere in here that are hangers-on. There's a small band in the corner playing light chamber music. And everybody seems to be centered around this area leading up to a large dais where it's just draped in luxurious velvets with these like gold braided cords hanging down, and it almost looks like a massive pile of pillows that a woman is reclining upon. And she has that look of high nobility. She wears several rings of mithril around her throat. She has a small headband, a circlet of mithril, several mithril bangles on her wrists. Seated next to her on the dais is a cat, a large black cat. Sitting in that sort of hunched way of a cat, sort of looking around. And as you get closer into the room, as you're led in front of the dais, you see that it's not just like your ordinary house cat. This is actually a small tabaxi that is perched cat-like, just sitting there.
Excuse me. Quick question.
Yes.
Is this what I think it is?
What?
Is the Tabaxi wearing a freaking bikini out of curiosity?
No. 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 The Tabaxi is not wearing a bikini. The Tabaxi's not wearing anything.
Good guess. Good guess.
So
how many people are in this room?
Oh man, there's probably, well, I'll tell you what. There are exactly there are a total of about 89 people in this room, because that's what I rolled on a D100.
All right, so we've got...
I should have had you roll it, Ted. Remember what happened last time you rolled a D100? 127 people died. Uh-oh, Ted froze. You froze for a second, Ted.
Sorry, somehow... Can you hear me?
Yep.
For some reason, it changed my mic.
All right, we can hear you. You just, whatever you said, if it was a punchline, your punchline was lost.
Oh no, it wasn't supposed to be any punchline. It was I rolled high on that roll before.
Yeah.
But if we've got 12 guards, one super guard, the queen, a bunch of nobles, and some musicians. And sadly, do we have fireballs? I don't know what kind of wizard.
Surrounded by almost 100 people, and Thorgarn still wants to pick a fight.
Isn't that what we're here for?
There's a final sound of as the music sort of dies off, and the murmuring of the crowd seems to die down as the soldiers finish. They sort of march you into that space in front of the dais, and they're flanking you on either side. The Gith commander is standing nearby as the woman looks down at all of you. And she says, well, it was certainly very courteous of you to come at my invitation to meet with me. Cantriel, Talmud, Thorgarn, Fig, and even Meepo. It is a pleasure to meet you. I am the High Lady Evangeline Devantage. You may simply call me the Lady Vantage. Which of you would like to hazard a guess as to why I have summoned you before me? Meepo. Yggdrasil must have great faith in you to send you out into the world like this. Why are you here, Meepo?
Meepo is a hero.
Interesting. What of you, Clockwork?
I am here at the quite kindness of these four, who have allowed me to accompany them and to observe the world.
Interesting. You have been allowed to accompany. Perhaps a better word would be to become complicit in their activities. Thorgarn, dare you hazard a guess?
I'm here because your soldiers said you're required to come with us.
Ah, yes, Thorgarn, the ever-practical, always looking at things exactly as they are.
Should I look at things not the way they are?
Well, for the other side of that coin, we will look at your cousin Talmud.
Oh, yes. May I help you?
Why do you think you're here?
Well, a long time ago, dwarves sprang out of the rock. At least that's what my granddad used to tell me. And I don't think that I personally sprang from a rock, but, there's a lot of hyperbole and metaphor and stuff mixed in. It's really hard to tell. Basically, I mean, fast forward several thousand years.
Thorgarn, Talmud, you get a swift, you feel a fist in between your shoulder blades as the Gith commander sort of shoves you hard. Yes, ever the smartass that I was told that you would be. The elven, or should I say Eladrin, bard, nay, ranger, Cantriel. Perhaps you are the one that is the brains of this operation. Why are you here? For what reason have I summoned you to my court?
Well, either you want us to get something for you, or we have something you want, is usually what it boils down to.
I'm rather disappointed. A band of adventurers calling themselves the Dawnbringers, hailing themselves as the savior of Oakhurst, whose tales precede them even before they arrive in Blazingdale. The prodigal sons have returned, and they've brought with them their friends. Let me ask you this, Dawnbringers. Which of the five of you was it that drove your sword through the heart of Lord Griveth Longsmire? Or perhaps, Talmud, you crossed his skull with Gerta, I believe it is called.
I think at that, Talmud kind of almost reaches up and touches the scar on his face before he gets control of himself. He says, "Aye, it was me."
It was you.
"Aye, that means yes."
You crushed his skull. You ended his life.
Well, he was trying to,
I did not ask you to speak, Thorgarn.
Didn't you? Didn't you ask us what happened?
If you speak again without my permission, Thorgarn, I will have your tongue removed from your throat before your words are finished. Talmud, you admit that you killed Lord Griveth Longsmire of the Knight's Might.
For the third time, aye.
That is what I wanted to hear. I wanted your confirmation. I asked you 3 times, and 3 times you have validated my suspicions. And you are all complicit in the actions. You were all there. Even you, Meepo. All of you are Dawnbringers, and all of you are responsible for the death of my husband. Have you anything to say for yourselves?
Yes, your husband was not the man that we went into that place with. The man that I killed was not the same man that I adventured with. He was corrupted. And not in the normal sense of the word. He kind of looks over at the guard captain. He was corrupted by a darkness. I did him a favor. I did you a favor.
You say he was corrupted by the darkness. Perhaps it was you who was corrupted. You used that corruption to steal my husband's life from him. All of you were corrupted by the evilness of that foul place. There is a reason the sunless citadel was sunk below the surface of the earth so long ago, because of the vileness within. And yet, all of you traipsed in there, seeking your wealth and your treasure, and to become heroes at the cost of a good man's life. What of you, Cantriel, Thorgarn, Fig, Meepo? Do you have any other excuses or half-truths or outright lies you wish to present before this court, before your sentence is passed out?
So I'm actually allowed to speak now. I will say that he was trying to actually run Cantriel through. And
Yeah, that was after I told him absolutely no way could he run me through another way.
But for the most part, in most civilized places, defending yourself, when your life is at stake, you're allowed to do so.
It's all a little hazy now, but we were stabbing him. But because he was trying to stab us too.
Figure 1. Or whatever number it is you go by. Any words you offer? I would presume you to be logical.
I do not dispute the fact that the life of your husband was ended, but for just cause that I expect you not to understand, for that you were not there. I fear that by us saying any sort of excuses, as you call it, will just further our, how do they say it, digging ourselves into a hole. But I do implore you to give us a trial, because that is only fair. And it is in many of the books that I have read, and something that has caught on in many principalities.
Well, it is very fortunate for you that you have been, you have been brought here to stand trial. These have been the opening statements, and you are about to stand trial for your crimes. Talmud, it's at this point you notice off to the side of the dais a familiar face in the crowd. Kind of darting and almost hiding behind a noble, you see young Baron who accompanied you from Oakhurst. As he suddenly looks up and he says, "Master Talmud, you're standing on..." And you see as she hits a lever on the side of the dais, and the floor drops out from beneath all of you. Unfortunately, standing too close to you, the Gith commander also falls into the pit with you, as you all slide down stone into a small stone cavern beneath. Looking up, you can see as all of the courtesans around the High Lady begin to peer down into this area as the lady's dais is moved forward, and she also looks down at you. Prepare for your trial. And that is where we're going to take a break. Do any of the five of you want to say it? Because I know you...
That was C-3PO right there, my dude.
The whole thing, I mean, Ashley Cantriel, V, you were on it early on, so technically you should get the point of inspiration. I forgot to mention this to the audience, but I did tell all of my players that I had hidden a Star Wars reference within... not hidden is a... It wasn't really hidden. It was pretty obvious that I just wanted to put a little taste of Star Wars in here. So you guys have no idea what sort of Rancor pit you have just fallen into.
No.
Once we started getting into the role playing, I totally forgot to be on the lookout. But when he said there it is, I'm like, yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
So we are going to take a quick 10-minute break. Oh man, I didn't even look at the clock that I actually timed that out almost exactly to 9:50.
Yeah, that was kind of
I forgot to open my snaz, which has the Bono in it. This sounds very Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
So that the timer actually goes off here during the break. So we are going to take a brief 10-minute break. There is a video that we'll be playing during the break that has the MTD announcements and some promos and advertisements and a countdown timer. We will be back after those 10 minutes where we will see what happens and if they all survive the trial. So let me see. I just, for some reason, my eyes started to water, and now I'm seeing double, trying to see my controls for the stream. This is why, through fan funding and things like Patreon, which is talked about in the upcoming video, I need a Elgato Stream Deck, which is the next up on the stream improvements. I'm serious. I can't find the stupid... Oh, there it is. Okay. We'll be back in just a few minutes. And this is the Intermission. Mini Terrain Domain, or MTD, is a channel dedicated to the love of and participation in the world of tabletop role-playing games. Whether we're designing encounters or miniature terrain, building worlds or dice towers, or just playing games, everything we do here is because we love this amazing hobby. That is why the mission statement of Mini Terrain Domain is simply imagine, build, play. If you like to watch live play or actual play D&D games, you can do so at twitch.tv/Mini Terrain Domain 3 days a week at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. On Sundays, you can join us for Jolt of Personality, a long-running campaign set in the Tomb of Annihilation adventure setting. On Mondays, you can join us for All That Glitters, a Waterdeep Dragon Heist campaign guaranteed to be epic proportion. And every Thursday night, you can join us for Dawnbringers, the Forge of Fury. This is a series of mini campaigns going across the gamut of several well-known modules. Season 1, which is available on youtube.com/miniterrain domain, took place in the Sunless Citadel. And Season 2 is currently taking place in the Forge of Fury. If you can't join us in the chat for our live shows, that's okay. You can usually catch the roleplay, or rather the replay, on YouTube just 2 days later. If you're a fan of what we do here and you'd like to support what we do, there are a variety of ways you can do this. First, simply follow the Twitch channel or hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Next, make sure you follow all of the participants of each game or show on their various social media platforms. To do this, if you're watching live with us on Twitch, you can simply type an exclamation point and that person's name into the Twitch chat, or on YouTube, you can look down below the information bar and all of their links can be found there. Finally, if you would like to provide monetary support, which flows right back into the production of the channel so we can continue making great content, you can join the growing list of patrons on Patreon. Additionally, you can also use Ko-Fi or Coffee to buy a coffee or two. I like coffee. But the absolute best way to support the channel is to follow and subscribe on Twitch and YouTube and join us in the chat. If you have an Amazon Prime account and you link it to your Twitch account, you can subscribe one channel per month absolutely free. No matter what you decide to do, we are just happy to have you here. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for more great content in just a few moments. Remember, metadata!
Hi everyone, I'm V and I have the YouTube channel, The Crafting Muse. Please be sure to go over there and check it out if you too would like to learn how to make some tabletop terrain, paint miniatures, as well as some game accessories. I'm always happy to have new subscribers over there.
Learn the ways of the Game Master, the Dungeon Master, and delve into the minds of the players. If you're looking for adventure, excitement, thrills, and a dice-rolling good time, grab the modules each month and play the campaign with your gaming group with quest givers DM Scotty and DMG. They're taking you on an epic journey through the role-playing experience every Friday. You're sure to get hooked on adventure.
And we really liked the idea of creating adventures together, so we thought that'd be a lot of fun to share with you guys.
I didn't think this kind of stuff would come out of my brain. We are quest givers, and I'll see you in the next video.
Adventure Mixtape, a music and adventure anthology, is a collection of 4 adventures for the 5th edition of the world's most popular role-playing game. The adventures are setting neutral and meant to be seamlessly dropped into any world that has a large seaside city and a jungle environment. With a bit of adaptation, the environments could be changed to suit any group. In Treaty of the Tiger King by Kelsey Dion of the Arcane Library, a distant king arrives at the city to negotiate the peaceful end of a war, but the mercenary guild has other insidious plans for him. Will the players be able to thwart assassination attempts against King Rami and help him negotiate circles of social intrigue in order to finally end the war? In Madness of the Majestic Menagerie by Ken Brees of Burling's Beard, the famous Majestic Menagerie draws hordes of visitors to the metropolis and cultural hub known since time immemorial as Splendor by the Sea. But now the gates of the famous zoo have been shut, and the grand opening of the new section has been jeopardized by a spate of mysterious accidents and, it's whispered, grievous injuries due to uncontrollable creatures. Mr. Majestic seeks to hire investigators and troubleshooters who can keep a low profile to iron out any problems before the impending grand opening becomes a complete disaster. Do you have what it takes to uncover what's driving the madness that's befallen the Majestic Menagerie? In The Infernal Collection by Sharang Biswas, when an influential fashion designer is found dead days before a major fashion show, heroes are called in to solve the mystery, prevent any further destruction, and help the fashion house prepare for the show. Gorillas in Their Midst by Jacob W. Norman of Mini Terrain Domain is a pulp action adventure wrought with perilous challenges and a high possibility of death. But what is adventure without danger? Of course, there is the lure of vast piles of unclaimed treasure and the accompanying fame that await those intrepid adventurers who would defy the odds and plunge into the heart of darkness. In this adventure, the characters will face raging river rapids, wicked waterfalls, poisonous plants, venomous vines, sinking sands, treacherous traps, and the vicious jungle demon itself, Awakanegori. Grab your satchels, fedoras, and bullwhips. Adventure awaits. The Adventure mixtape also comes with 4 original songs inspired by and written for the heroic adventures herein. This collection of music and story is something unique. We had no better word for it than mixtape. If you ever received a cassette, CD, or digital playlist curated to take you on a memorable journey, then you'll recognize what you find inside this volume. Also included in the Adventure mixtape, courtesy of Kelsey Dion of the Arcane Library, are exclusive combat cards. Special cards that contain all of the items, monsters, and spellcasters found within these adventures to make running your adventure all the more easier. Adventure Mixtape, a music and adventure anthology, is available exclusively on drivethrurpg.com.
Griveth, once home to the most wondrous kingdom the world had ever known, blasted to nothing in just a fortnight. It is here that the fiends of hell walk among us. It is here where all things die. Welcome to Griveth. Demon invaders roam the landscape and have conquered all. The world is a ravaged and wrathful wasteland, where the old world lies buried beneath the blood and sand with its gods and its secrets. Water is fought over with blood and steel. Compatible with the 5th edition of the world's oldest fantasy role-playing game, this book contains all new character creation options, including all of the familiar classes with new aspects befitting the ravaged wastelands of Griveth, along with new backgrounds, subclasses, spells, feats, and so much more. New races will allow you to play as the Cursed Ash Elves, the Forsaken Humans, the Primordial Incarnal, the Proud Orcs, the Reptilian Suri, or the Infernal-Blooded Tieflings. New game mechanics such as blood, grit, and effort give your games an intense focus on lethality and survival. Numerous roll tables full of ideas to help bring your games to life. Featuring incredible thematic art by Brandish Gilhelm of Runehammer Games, as well as Lloyd Collins. The people of Griveth are not heroes. In Griveth it is courage just to survive. Will you rise to face the tide of demons, or will you succumb to the hostile elements? Available now on drivethrurpg.com.
And we're back. The adventurers found themselves brought before the High Lady Evangeline Davantage, the Lady Vantage, accused of the crime of killing her husband, Lord Griveth Longsmore. And before they could do anything, the trapdoor was released. Meepo, Fig, Thorgarn, Talmud, Cantriel, and the Gift Commander all have fallen into a pit, sliding down stone, collapsing into the dirt, and there are a few bones lying around in this largish cavern. About 50 feet above you, through the opening in the floor, all of the guests of the court are looking down at you. The Lady Vantage from her dais, which has been slid up nearby, looks down at you and laughs, as on the opposite side of the chamber, a large steel door rises, and this giant form begins to move forward. What you see is this sort of almost greenish colored creature with 4 tentacles coming off from the sides, a ridiculously large mouth, and 3 eye stalks in the center of its head, as a massive frogamoth or froghemoth begins advancing towards you. And I would like everyone to roll for advantage. Roll. I can't even get it right. Roll initiative. Good Lord. Roll for advantage.
Well, my natural 20s have balanced out. I go to 2.
I just got my natural 20, 24.
Ooh.
Let's get a 24 for Meepo.
20 for Cantriel.
And 3 others got a 20. About Fig?
14.
Talmud?
Mine was similar. I got a 4.
And Thorgarn?
Thorgarn is a 2.
And let's see, we're looking at That's funny. I did not write. I just grabbed my marker and I did not write Frogamoth or Froghemoth. I wrote Rancor. So that's that, and then.
So I'm gonna say my natural 1. I am prone and face down when we land.
So. And then I gotta roll for death. Let's see. Natural 1. Nice.
Is he flat on his ass too?
Oh yeah. He's squealing like a Gamorrean. Alright, so here is our initiative order. It is going to be Meepo first, followed by Cantriel, followed by Fig, followed by the Froghemoth, and Talmud, and then the Gith, and then Thorgarn. Even though he rolled a natural 1, he still has...
Oh, I rolled a natural 1 as well, so...
But you got a 2 total, right?
Correct, yep.
He has a +2 to his deck, so he got a 3.
Yep, I only got a 1.
So you're last. Okay. Meepo, you see this giant creature come in and sort of... its tentacles flailing around as it begins to advance towards all of you. What do you do, Meepo?
All right. Meepo is going to cast a glance at his allies. He's going to wink at Cantriel, and then he's going to run forward and throw himself prostrate before the beast and immediately begin groveling. Meepo, please, no, eat Meepo. Meepo not taste good. and I'm going to use the kobold racial trait grovel, cower, and beg. Once per short rest as an action, you can cower to distract foes. Until the end of your next turn, allies gain advantage on attacks against enemies within 10 feet that you can see. So Meepo is trying to distract him by cowering. Heroically.
I love it. So does that grant disadvantage?
No,
to the creature or advantage
to my allies to attack.
Okay, excellent.
But yeah, they can still get me fine.
All right. Well, it's Cantriel's turn as Meepo appears to have prostrated himself before the Froghemoth. Cantriel, or shall I call you Scotty, or Mike,
Muted.
is muted.
All right. So, about how tall is the Froghemoth again?
This thing is probably close to 20 feet tall.
Okay, perfect. So, Cantriel is going to start making this high-pitched sound that starts getting louder and louder and louder to the point where you can't hear it anymore, but she's aimed it towards the Froghemoth and she is casting Shatter upon him.
Nice.
And the sphere is hanging right above his head so that Meepo will not be affected by the spell.
Okay, perfect. And that is a Constitution save?
Yes, that is a con save against my... where'd it go? 14.
That is a 17 on the die, so that is a 26
All right,
on its saving throw.
He'll still take half damage.
Okay.
Unsuccessful. So.
Just as a reminder, you guys do have 21 domain dice, though it does cost 2 to make me reroll.
Doesn't it cost you 2 to reroll? And
Yep, it costs 2 to make the DM reroll.
Now let's see where it goes. This is a one-time.
All right, so half damage?
Yeah, half damage on... Oh, I have to math now. Hold on. 15, so...
15 was the total?
Yeah.
All right. I round up on damage, so it takes 8 points of damage, shatter damage.
And then she's going to look over to Fig. We're gonna jump over Fig for a moment, since Megan stepped away.
Yeah, because she's supposed to go next. So, wait, she's back. She's back. There you are.
Then she's going to look over to Fig and let's see what other damage she can do to him and give him some bardic inspiration for his... So you now have advantage and inspiration.
All right, Fig, you're up.
This is something new that I've been trying. And you see Fig outstretch his hand towards this Froghemoth, and a little match comes out of his wrist. It kind of pops out, and it lights, and you just see this huge explosion of fire as he casts Fireball.
I'm simultaneously amazed and awed and also pissed.
Yeah.
And don't forget, since I'm Valor Bard, that means that you can add that to the damage too.
All right, so that's going to be a dexterity saving throw. That is an 18 on the die, so that is a 19 on its save. So that'll be half damage of 8d6 plus bardic inspiration if you're using that. Forgot to set up the dice game, but didn't quite want to line up right. Megan's doing a whole bunch of dice math. That fireball math.
That's always great when it's like, the dice are rolling at the table and you hear the clunkety, 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 clunkety. You're just like, yeah.
Do you know in the custom dice towers that I make, that is one of my stress tests on the dice towers is to roll fireball damage.
That makes sense.
On top of rolling, I roll combinations of dice that people would roll. So 4d6 for stats, 8d6 for fireball, a few d10s, d12s, etc. I always roll magic missile 3d4s as well.
Yeah, that too.
You got a
you can always look at dragon breath weapons as well.
Yep.
So, do you round up or round down for half damage?
I usually round up. What was the total?
Okay. The total was 35.
All right, so that's going to be 18 points of fire damage as fire.
Also, everything else is on fire.
As fire is spilling down over this ring or this frog hemoth, and as it sort of roars as the fire hits it, it lashes out with 2 of its tentacles. It is, let's see. Yep, it is going to roll its tentacles out at the 2 people that it saw casting spells against it. You know what? This thing's dumb. So Meepo, you're right at its feet, and it doesn't seem in the fire and flames seem to have noticed you. So I'm going to roll a d4 for the others. The first tentacle is going for Cantriel. The Talmud for the second tentacle. So we are going to attempt to hit you. That is a 22 to hit Cantriel and a 19 to hit Talmud. So you are each going to take not 1, not 2, but 3 d8. So first, Cantriel, you take 12 points of bludgeoning damage, and you are grappled. Talmud, ooh, you take 22 points of bludgeoning damage, and you are also grappled in 2 of its tentacles as it begins to lift you up off of the ground. You're like just sort of starting to rise as it grapples you. I would like everybody to make perception checks.
$20, 24.
14.
7.
So anybody that got higher than, because I forgot to roll this. Who are the 2 that had the high numbers?
15.
I got a 24.
Yeah, anything that was over 24?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you are the only one that sees this. As you are grappled by this thing, you see on the ceiling 2 creatures that are multi-legged, pale, on the ceiling begin climbing rapidly down the wall.
Can I shout incoming?
Yeah. You're grappled. You're not silenced.
Well, I wasn't sure, grappled around all the way. So, all right. So, heads up. There's some extra friends joining us, and I'm going to gesture with my head towards the creepy crawlies coming down the ceiling.
And you see, as your attention is drawn to it, the rest of you see 2 eyeless cave fishers crawling along the walls to enter the fray. They're not able to you know what? Actually, they can. Forgot about that. So let's see. That leaves Thorgarn and Fig as these things suddenly from these creatures' mouth, some sort of adhesive filament shoots out. It's weird. It doesn't have. There's not an attack roll on this. Oh. Screw it. I'm gonna do rolls to see if it hits. Actually, you guys are both lucky. They missed. It just says here. This is the first time I've used a cave fisher, so sorry for that. It just says that it adheres to anything it touches. So anyway, I rolled a 1 and a 5. So these like sticky, almost like spider webs, shoot past you guys, Thorgarn and Fig. It is now Talmud's turn.
So Talmud is picked up by this second set of tentacles, partially because he drops his defenses whenever the first set grabs Cantriel. And in an uncharacteristic, seemingly at least, show of like worry and fear, he actually drops his guard and like reaches up to grab Cantriel first, and then he's swept up by these tentacles in the next instant. He fumbles around and grabs Gerta off of his back. Have I been brought close enough to this thing's face or body to strike it?
It has not brought you toward it. It just reached out and grappled you. So you basically can attack it by attacking the tentacle, or you can try to escape.
Okay. Then yes, he's gonna, as he's pulling the two different pieces of Gerta out, he's gonna start gritting his teeth and like white knuckling the two different pieces of this once whole maul. And as he does so, his tattoos begin to glow and illuminate with light. And as they do, spectral dwarves start pouring out of him in every direction, almost like dry ice fog falling away towards the ground. And several of the arms of these spectral ancestral dwarves reach out of Talmud's chest and grab a hold of the two pieces of Gerta and bring them together and hold them in place as he grabs a hold with his own hands and wields Gerta as if she were whole. He's going to strike at this. He's going to enter rage, and then he's going to strike at this tentacle.
All right.
The first one is a 16.
That hits.
And the follow-up will be, I'm going to use a domain die.
Domain.
It's going to be an 11.
That is going to miss.
Okay. I will, with the first hit, deal 15 points of bludgeoning damage.
All right.
And the dwarven specters pour from me and begin swarming the Froghemoth. So until my next turn, it will have disadvantage on attacks that are not directed at me. And if he hits someone else, they have resistance to that damage.
Excellent. The Gith commander immediately turns and begins trying to scramble back up the stone chute that it fell down, trying to get away. He is making no attempt to fight this thing. That's going to take us back to Meepo, still groveling on the ground in front of this thing.
All right. Now that Meepo...
Do I not get a turn?
Oh, you know what? Thorgarn. As Meepo's gathering his courage, what do you do?
So, how far away am I from this thing?
It's about 20 feet away.
All right, so I should just be able to have just enough movement to stand up and get to him.
Absolutely.
All right, so I will draw my weapons. I will also, enter a rage and have spectral dwarves begin surrounding this thing, and I will attack twice with the longsword. And there's that second one to balance that second 20 I rolled earlier. But my first strike is, where is that? It's a 19 to hit.
That's a hit.
So that is a whopping 7 points of damage. The smallest number I could possibly roll.
As you strike into the froghemoth, it barely seems to even notice. It's like you just run up and strike at its legs. You run past Meepo, who still appears to be cowering on the ground. Is that the end of your turn?
Oh, wait a second. We were supposed to roll with advantage because of his groveling.
You do indeed.
So the second attack actually is going to be a 22.
That's going to hit.
Oh, my groveling paid off.
And that turned that into max damage on the second swing. So that is a 14 damage. Thank you for your groveling.
And now it seems to know that you're there.
But since we both have our ancestral guardians, flanking, he attacks with everybody with disadvantage, and everybody gets resistance. Huzzah!
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a weird
That's
thing.
spicy.
It's a weird thing that we realize when you have two ancestral barbarians fighting.
That's spicy.
It's nice.
And what's funny about it is it seems like it's one of those like min-max things, but Ted had no idea that Jeremy was playing an ancestral barbarian when he came in with his character.
Truth be told, I had said that I wanted to play a Dwarven Barbarian Path of the Ancients in the next campaign that I played before, like, this game even had gotten started. This was like over the summer, and Jake is like, well, I got a game that's going to be starting and we'll get you in, and one thing led to another, and eventually I was asked to join this game, and I'm like, well, that's what I'm playing. And then I start watching, and I'm like, oh, that's what Jeremy's playing. Oh, crap.
Well, it works out in instances like this. So, Meepo.
All right, Meepo, now seeing this happening, the cowering was all a ruse, but very well rehearsed ruse. He will clamber up to his feet, bonus action to disengage, rush to put as much distance as he can. I'm not sure of the layout exactly, but he'll try to put as much distance between him, draw his short bow, and fire at that sucker with advantage from pack tactics, because kobolds are awesome. That would be a 17.
That is going to hit.
All right, sweet. And that will trigger sneak attack with some adjacent allies. So
roll that fistful of dice.
Yeah, it wasn't great. Meepo will hit for 13 damage. Oh, I'm sorry, 14 damage.
Meepo hit with the same ferocity as a raging dwarven barbarian.
True.
All right. Is that all you got, Meepo? You gonna stay there
Meepo.
engaged with this thing?
Oh, he put as much distance as he could.
Oh, okay.
Bonus action to disengage.
Excellent.
Meepo's being a hero, but bravely tactically pulling back.
Hit and fade. So it is now Cantriel's turn.
Cantriel's going to look at the froghemoth, and then she's going to look over to Talmud and look back at the froghemoth. Well, now you've just gone and made him angry. And that's on you. But let's add a little something extra to it. And she'll look back at Talmud and give him a little wink and a smile. And then she's going to look back over to this beastie creature that's holding her, because quite frankly, there's no way she's going to get out of a grapple. Not happening. And she's going to look him dead in the eye and basically say, "You've just met your worst nightmares." And she's going to cast Bane on the creature as well as his little friends. And they all have to do charisma throws on this one.
All right, that is a 16 minus 3, 13 for the Froghemoth.
Now he has a D4 taken off of every roll for on attack or saving rolls.
So that's him.
Mm-hmm.
And then the natural 19 minus 4 is 15.
That one just makes it.
So that's for the cave fishers.
Okay.
So all kinds of like advantages and disadvantages and and D4 negatives on this Froghemoth. It's like you guys don't want him to attack you.
Gee, wonder why.
All right, Fig. What you got?
Fig points his hand out again, this time palm up towards the Froghemoth, and 3 of these small little bursts of light come out and whiz about before finding their mark against the Froghemoth, and I'm going to be casting Magic Missile.
All right.
Do-do-do. I do not have any D4s, and that means that they're all on the floor, and I am going to step on them at some point. So that is going to be 14 points of damage.
You guys, just each round hitting 14, 14, 14. All right. It is definitely not liking this. The first thing it's going to do as you strike at it with these lights, and it seems to watch where these lights come from, it is going to shoot its tongue out at you, Fig. You need to make a strength saving throw. And just in case you're wondering, yes, its tongue extends out as much as 20 feet. So it doesn't matter that you're far away from it. That's the frog in the Froghemoth.
That
what's
is...
the hemoth part?
You're about to find out.
Uh-oh. That is a 5.
You are pulled towards, its tongue hits you and sticks to your chest, and you have this sort of yoink as you just pulled forward toward it. It immediately bends down as a bonus action to attempt to bite you. With a 17 on the die, that's a 27 to hit.
Disadvantage and Bane.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, you are right. So that's another 17. Minus 4 is 13. That's still a 23 to hit.
The attempt was made.
The attempt was made. I need to find some D10s here. Fig, you take 2, 4, 6. Really? 3 2s. You take 12 points of piercing damage.
But you have resistance to that.
Which you have resistance to from the Ancestral Guardians. So you take 6 points of piercing damage, but everything goes dark around you as it lifts its head up with you clamped between its teeth, tosses its head back, and swallows you. You are blinded and you are restrained. So obviously blinded, you cannot see. You automatically fail any ability checks that require sight, and attack rolls against you have advantage, blah blah blah. But you're also restrained, and well, you do have total cover against other targets and effects because you're in its stomach.
Silver lining,
right? So, yep, that is, I believe. Let's see, it did a tongue attack. And its bite attack. So that is the end of its turn, but it is now the cave fisher's turn. As filaments shoot out again. Thorgarn. This almost like a bundle of fishing line shoots out and hits you and sticks to you. You are considered grappled by this thing.
Okay.
As it strikes you. It doesn't do any damage to you. It's just basically ensnared you with this filament. And the other one sticks itself to Talmud. They hit you basically on your... each of you are hit kind of around your like midsection.
Am I still grappled by the Froghemoth?
Yep.
Nice.
There's a little bit of a tug of war going on there. As it is now...
It's enough to go around. Settle down.
It's your turn, Talmud.
Fantastic. All right. So he is going to still raging. His cousin that's a little unhinged, the bloodthirsty maniac, starts screaming and waving about. Ah! And he brings up Gerta and slams it down on the tentacle of this thing, again, trying to free himself.
All right. So are you... Is that a flavored grapple escape attempt, or are you attacking it?
No, I'm just attacking it. Sorry.
Okay.
Just hoping I can deal enough damage to this thing to make it let go. The first is a 25.
That will hit.
The second...
The DM said with an unshielded note of disappointment in his voice.
The second one's only a 12, though.
Cut to a couple hours ago. I know what'll get them. A Froghemoth. Little did he know. Yeah, so the second one misses.
I figured as much. All right. Once again, these spiritual dwarves come pouring out and surround this thing as I'm going to deal. That is 17 points of bludgeoning damage.
All right. All right, Talmud. Anything else?
Nope.
Then
yeah, crazy dude.
The let's see.
It's the Gith and then me.
Yep. I'm just looking to see what he is doing. The Gith, if anybody's watching him, he actually he makes a leap up towards the rock wall, aided by some sort of magical effect as he casts jump to help himself leap higher, and is scrabbling at the rocks, trying to climb his way up out of this pit. Thorgarn.
So 3 attacks, 2 with the longsword, 1 with the war pick, all of which are over a 20. So I assume they all hit.
Those are all going to hit.
So that is 12, 13, and 8 damage.
So 33 points of damage. There's definitely some screaming and roaring coming from the Froghemoth as you are striking at it.
So as Thorgarn is just wailing away at this at this thing's hide. He swallowed his friend, and he's just in this battle fervor, and he's just trying to see if he can cut through and get to his friend.
All right. We are back to Meepo. The froghemoth has taken several cuts and is bleeding all around you, as Thorgarn is not much taller than you, Meepo, so all these cuts are very low on its body. What are you going to do, Meepo?
All right, from his relatively safe, at least somewhat distant vantage from disengaging last turn, Meepo will take another shot with his short bow, rolling with advantage because his allies are still adjacent to it. That is I got a 27. Pretty sure that hits.
Nope, that misses. I've quadrupled the Raincor's AC. No, that hits, obviously.
Okay, and that'll be a sneak attack hit. He was aiming for one of the open wounds, trying to drive it home. Wow, I rolled near max damage on that too.
Nice.
That's 10 and 12, 22 plus 4, 26 damage. Woo!
The froghemoth is... You can see that with its tentacles, Talmud and Cantriel, you can feel its grip sort of loosening a bit. And it's leaking blood everywhere. But it does manage to maintain its hold on you, on both of you.
Quick question, Jake.
Yes.
Where I've disengaged in the cavern, you mentioned there were like bones and rocks, and I'm imagining the Rancor cave. Is it even remotely feasible that Meepo can try to squeeze into a little crack in the rocks and try to make that bonus action hide, or is it way too exposed?
This is very, similar to the Rancor cave. At this point, you're pretty much in an open cave.
Okay.
That I don't think it's feasible from your current location. You would have to attempt to move past the froghemoth.
Yeah, I think he'll not do that.
Come on, you don't want to move past him through his space?
All good.
You don't want to provoke an opportunity attack? All right, Cantriel.
Cantriel's seeing that there's definitely been some damage done to this ugly beastie, and then some. So she's going to attempt to cast Sleep.
Oh. Okay.
So this is the one thing that always gets me about this spell. I already rolled because I'm going to cast it at 2nd level. So I got a total of 38.
Okay.
And then it's a creature within 20 feet of a point you choose. Obviously, I'm choosing the froghemoth.
Yeah, there's no, it's just hit point based, so there's no...
Yeah, that's
okay.
just it. I'm like, I'm pretty sure
but
it's just...
it starts with the creature with the lowest. Now, this is I just got to double check this, because it's...
It says 20 feet of a point
current.
you choose.
No, what I wanted to see was current hit points.
Yeah.
All right, so where are you targeting it exactly?
Where is the cave fisher again?
The cave fishers are around the walls on either side of the cave from you.
Okay, then I'm going to aim this thing so it's further back near the froghemoth, so it's focused all on the froghemoth as possible.
Okay, and you rolled what?
38.
That would be...
It has to be equal or less to the remaining total.
Well, at this stage, the froghemoth current hit points, that is enough for it to begin to completely, the tentacles sort of unravel from around Talmud and Cantriel. The froghemoth takes a sort of staggering step. And then it takes another staggering step. And then it collapses to the ground. And I need anybody that was in front of it And this thing's 20 feet tall. So that would be Talmud as you and Cantriel as you land.
Mhm.
And Thorgarn, you all need to make dexterity saving throws.
Okay. 16.
19.
All right, as a barbarian, because it's a dexterity saving throw and that I can see, I use Dangerous Sense to roll with advantage, and I got a 21.
You all succeed and avoid getting crushed by the froghemoth. You feel a slight shifting, Fig, and you feel this sort of, from within, you feel as a different portion of the stomach weirdly begins to press against you. And from deep within, you hear this sort of from outside, the rest of you hear this sort of as it is asleep.
So quick question. Fig was with us for when Cantriel put the dragon to sleep, correct? Technically, in our alternate reality.
Right.
Just putting that out there as a question. Yes?
You're asking if Fig was with you.
Yeah, right? Fig was there for that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, just making sure.
Actually, that brings up a good point, though. Fig, what is your current hit points?
30.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Starting with the lowest current hit points, I just realized Fig would have also been caught in that sleep spell.
Doesn't it say that you can see?
Because Fig's a construct, right?
Does it say that you can see?
Isn't it like it has to be a living creature?
I was just going from the fact of I think sleep is that you can see.
Yeah, see, that's just it. Yep, you have to see. And
No.
aren't you immune to being
It
charmed?
does not
now?
say that you have
No?
to see them. It says creatures within 20 feet of a
choose
point you choose within range. It doesn't matter. She has more hit
She's still
points.
fine.
She has more hit points than the froghemoth had remaining.
Seriously? Oh, funny. Okay.
So, but you guys are still engaged with the creature, the cave fishers. Fig, what you gonna do?
Fig is gonna try and get out. He's hoping that he can just waltz right out there, a little covered in mucus, but
what are you going to try to do? I mean, how are you going to try to get out?
Well, if the froghemoth is laying down, then he would just want to kind of crawl out the way he went in, which I guess he would want to back out because he kind of went head first. That's how I imagine it anyway.
Well, it did come down from above and bite you and go in. So yes, backing out. In this case, backing one out will allow you to come out its mouth.
Okay. I just imagine that Fig just kind of backs out and then just kind of collapses to the floor out of its mouth, just covered in this green slime. And I don't know if you would count that as an
movement.
action.
I just call that movement.
Okay.
I'll say that you've used all of your movement to get out of it. But it's still your turn, and there are still a couple of enemies in the area.
Right. How far away are they? And they're on the ceiling, right? In relation to
They're on the walls, and they're
walls.
about maybe 15 feet, either one.
All right. He is going to... Are they close to each other?
No, they're on opposite sides.
Opposite sides, okay. So he is going to, again, extend his hand, kind of in the center, in between either of them on either side. And again, these lights just come out, though it takes a while, and you see that Fig has to like remove the slime from his hand in order for these glowing orbs to finally come out, and he's shaking it. But eventually the magic missiles do fly out, and I'm going to upcast it to a second level so that there's 4, so that it is 2 hit each. So that is going to be it's going to be 5 on the first, and then 6 on the second.
All right. Gamers Theater has just resubscribed for the 7th month in a row with Prime, and you know what that means. You guys have just earned another domain die. So let's see. We're at 20, so we're gonna go right back to where we were here. Get rid of that, and you guys. Whoops, there's an extra one hovering around in there. You don't need that. Thank you, Gamers Theater, for the resub. And there is another domain die for you, as it is now not the Rancor Froghemoth's turn, because it is snoring. It will continue to snore for its turn. So it is then the Cave Fisher's turn. The Cave Fishers are going to... what?
No, never mind.
The Cave Fishers are going to... Yep. So, Talmud, you are now free from the grapple, but you were grappled with this filament. I need you to make a strength saving throw. And I'm also going to need Thorgarn to make a strength saving throw. Why are the Cave Fishers grappling dwarves? Of everybody making strength saving throws, the dwarves are the ones I don't want to roll against.
I mean, my strength is -2, so pretty strong, pretty good.
You mean the dwarven barbarians?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
There's a reason why you sleep.
Even with advantage, I did not do so well. Well, I mean, it's not horrible. It's a 14, but it's single digits on both dice.
I got a 19.
You both succeed as these filaments are pulling against you, and there's a whoosh snapping sound as the filaments snap away from you, and you are no longer grappled by these filaments, and they were unable to pull you toward them. That is then going to bring us up to Talmud.
So Talmud is still in the middle of this rage. This thing is still attached, or it has let go now?
It's let go.
Okay. Once it lets go, he turns and rounds on this thing and kind of does like a standing hop in the air. And as he does so, he charges forward when he lands and brings this. How high up off the ground is it?
About 10 feet.
Okay. So he's actually going to run up the sleeping Froghemoth's body and leap off of the top of it and swing this maul at one of these cave fishers on the wall.
I dig it.
You want like an athletics or something, or?
Yeah, you're running on a slimy Froghemoth, so yeah, we'll do an athletics.
All right. Ooh, that's a 26.
Yeah, you just made it.
Just barely. Excellent. They call me Twinkle Toes. All right. So he runs up and he jumps off of this mountain of like blubbery flesh, and he swings Gerta for a 24.
Yeah, that hits.
Excellent. And he's going to attempt to get it once more before he has to head back down to Earth. That's another 24.
Definitely.
Beautiful. I'd like to thank the Academy. All right. That's going to be 9 points of damage for the first one. And 12 on the second.
So, how do you obliterate this cave fisher, Talmud?
Using the natural rock that's kind of behind it as a anvil, he brings the head of Goethe into this thing's body twice in kind of rapid succession, and he kind of just liquefies a part of its, like, whatever its thorax equivalent would be.
Excellent. It is a half quivering mass, half gelatinous, bloody goo that spills down onto the floor. As we slide into... Well, actually, that would bring us... Yep, that would bring us to the top of the batting order with Thorgarn, as the Gith is nearing the top. And as he gets up near the top, some of the other Gith soldiers lean down in and help him up. And now it is Thorgarn's turn. Dad, you're muted.
Sorry, channeling, DM Scotty. So I just, pull out my javelins, because that's, rather than trying to go all fancy like my cousin over there and running up a sleeping monster, I just want to kill stuff now. So I turn to the other cave fisher. I'm assuming a 12 does not hit.
12 does not hit the cave fisher.
Right. The other ones are 20, 30, 20.
Yeah, those are good.
So that is 9 and 5 for the other two.
Okay, you've dealt some pretty good damage to it. Not quite as impressive as your cousin.
No.
Going to... Sorry, I'm trying to do the math here. Thanks to Starin19, who has contributed to the pool of bits. I said in chat that would, of course, earn you guys another domain die. So you're actually up 1 from what we started the session with. And these do roll over, so... As Thorgarn attempts to end this other cave fisher, Thorgarn, on either side of you, you feel the slight change in pressure and hear the sort of before suddenly you hear the as a spear goes on either side of your head from above into this cave fisher, pinning it to the stone as the Gith soldiers from above have finished it off. You see several more come down. 5 spears in total find their marks in the head of the Froghemoth. It doesn't even have a chance to awaken before it is snuffed. Ropes are thrown down from above. In the end of each rope is a foot sling, as the soldiers have lowered ropes down to the 5 of you. What do you do? Ted, you keep looking like you're trying to talk, but we can't hear you. I hear you, see your lips moving, but I can't hear you.
How steep is the actual slope?
There's no slope, it's open air.
Oh, okay.
Well, I guess, yeah, I mean, there was like a wall basically that the Gith had used magic to leap up to when he climbed out. But they're basically holding it down in a way that you would be pulled straight up if you accept the ropes. What do you guys do? Do you accept the ropes? Or do you do something else?
I'm gonna take a gander down, around first, make sure that my allies are all right, and see if there's anything sparkly down here.
You're looking for treasure. I love it. Give me a quick investigation check.
I am a dwarf after all. Investigation, you say, huh? That's a 2.
Yeah, you don't see anything sparkly. All right. What about the rest of you? Are you guys grabbing the ropes to be pulled up back into the audience chamber, or are you going to do something else?
Cantriel is first going to walk over to Talmud, and then she's going to bend over and dip him over and give him a deep, passionate kiss. And then lean him back up and to his feet. You did a good job this time around, love, didn't you?
Hot brimstone.
I think your rope is here, my lady. And he'll actually extend one of the ropes towards her.
She'll give him a little loving peck on the top of his forehead where that scar is and stick her foot in to climb up the rope or be hoisted up, I'm assuming, from the description.
Yeah, as soon as you put your foot into the rope and hold up above, you can feel you're being pulled upward. Is everybody else doing likewise?
Talmud is right behind.
Yeah, Meepo scampers out from range.
Thorgarn, you do notice right before you're grabbed on either arm by Gith, from this angle you can see down into the room where the Froghemoth came from, and you see not only are the walls, is there actual mithril ore in the walls, you see quite a few nuggets of loose mithril on the floor that you missed while you were down there. That's what a 2 gets you, sir.
Yeah, hey, that's fine. You got to go with what the dice say, man.
So you are all pulled up into the audience chamber. The trap in the floor is pulled back into place, locked into place. And this time, the dais is actually pulled forward even more until it's covering that pit. And you stand now on a section of floor you can only hope isn't another form of trap. As the High Lady, Evangeline Devantage, looks down at all of you. Do not know how it is that you are able to defeat my creatures. But here you stand.
What, that?
I believe you would call that a trial by combat, and that was your champion, and I do believe that that means that we are free to go, right?
Oh.
You assume this is Westeros. No, I'm just kidding. It would appear as though there are some sort of divine entities that find favor within all of you, including some sort of divine patron that has blessed you with yet another domain die. Chameleon Fam Joy, thank you for the 500 bits. We have missed you as well. You came in at the end, but you're dropping the hits, dropping the bits, getting them another domain die. They may yet need it. Some divine force seems to favor the 5 of you for some reason. They may forgive you your crime, but know this. Meepo of the clan Yggdrasil, Fig, Thorgarn, Talmud, Cantriel, all of your names are etched into my memory. Each of you is named Nemesis. I will not forget this day, and I will not forget that it was you, especially you, Talmud, the Clan Gadan. Watch closely those who you love. You never know when your loved ones will be taken away from you violently. Let them go. They have apparently earned their freedom this day. The guards all step aside. And it appears you are free to go. What would you like to do?
I believe it is customary for each to shake the hands of those. They have it as a manner of honor. I've read it in a book somewhere. And Fig would go to take a step forward, hand out.
I would like you to make a persuasion check.
Oh boy, okay.
Cantriel hears this and she's going to just pat Fig on the shoulder, and you've got some bardic inspiration. It's my last one.
Thank you. Okay. How much does that give again?
D6.
Oh, a D6. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to use a domain die because that was a 5.
You rolled a 5?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so sorry. That is a 19 with the inspiration.
The reason I said you rolled a 5 is because I rolled a 6. So I mean, it's good you used a domain die, but that would have been so humiliating to lose by 1 point.
Oh god.
Okay. She looks at your proffered hand. She unfolds her legs from beneath her, atop her the pile of pillows on this dais, and she sort of slides forward a bit next to the tabaxi that still crouches on the edge of the dais. She stands and sort of straightens her skirts, holds her head high, extends her hand out to you, but with a bit of a sneer of disgust at the same time.
Fig holds her hand for a moment, shaking it, and you just see from his wrist come this small match that lights.
And that is where we're going to end this session. Because we all know what's about to happen.
Nice.
Oh my. All right. That was something a little bit different. So hopefully everybody liked it. I mean, we haven't done this for a while because of the nature of the way we run the game. But I do this with one-shots all the time. This is technically a one-shot. And for all of you, except for Megan, this was your first side quest in an alternate reality. So before we head out of here for the night, first off, I just want to thank everybody who tuned in tonight. We had a pretty good group of viewers tonight, a lot of friends, a lot of shared audience and viewers, and even a couple new people that I presume probably came from Castle Mac's audience as well. But some mutual friends in there, of course. The lovely Castle Mac Lydia. I'm sure she came in here just to see Steven. But
That's all that.
But Wiley was in there as well, and of course many friends, Joey and Alan and Josh and the other Jeremy. And I'm in a dangerous ground of naming people off because I'm gonna miss somebody. Gamers Theater and just so many people. Star N19 with the bits. Thank you to everybody who tuned in tonight. We always appreciate you, the audience, especially in this Thursday night game, which has become our sort of, it's the one where we really embrace the audience and we like to kind of acknowledge you even during the game. This is why we talk to you midstream, in mid-game. So with that, by way of heading into the final outro, we're going to go around the table and just final thoughts on this little alternate reality side quest before we head out here. V.
This was a lot of fun. I thoroughly enjoyed the the Veiled Star Wars too, because that was yeah, that's it's a hit in our house. Let's put it that way. This really was great. And let's see here. Yeah, find me on YouTube, find me on Twitter, find me here twice a week playing at 8:30 on Mondays and Thursday nights and having a great time. And I'm looking forward to next Thursday. I love this group. I love the people in the chat, and it's always so much fun. Thursdays are my nights where I'm just like super jazzed up.
Well, and a quick note on that, because we're going to be down Scotty again next week as well. We're going to do, it's not going to be a side quest. I had actually intended to do this tonight. As you may have seen on the promo at the break, Scotty and Griveth from the DMG have co-produced this thing called Quest Givers. And I'm going to be running some of the Quest Givers materials for this group next week. So I don't know if you're available, Steven. Next week, you're probably that look says probably not, but
appreciate it, but no, next Thursday I won't be. Sorry.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to extend the invite if you were another week. That said, let's head down to Jeremy. Final thoughts.
Yeah, I love being a part of this group. There's no shortage of things that are surprising. And that make me laugh, like belly laugh, through most of the evening. So I always leave this game feeling very, very good. Talmud is always a lot of fun to play, and even in a variant of him. So yeah, I can't wait until we see what happens next week. And then whenever we finally get back into the Forge itself and get our Griveth back. But yeah, you can find me on YouTube at the Erasmus Expeditions. I have a lot of live plays. I talk about crafting videos. No, I make videos where I talk about crafting. And I also have a podcast that I do with two friends of mine named The Dudes of Yore, which can also be found on YouTube. So check us out. Thanks for having me as always.
You also, because I forgot to mention this at the beginning, you can type any one of these players' names, exclamation point, and their name, first name, and you will see all of the links to their channels and social medias. That's not true for Steven. I didn't add him into the chat commands because I didn't think about it. Not a regular player, but Castle Mac has the honor of being one of only a couple channel VIPs, as indicated by the purple diamond in the chat. Ted.
Hey everybody, Ted from Nerdarchy, for Nerds by Nerds. You can search anything for Nerdarchy, social media, YouTube, our own website. We primarily talk about 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. Every once in a while there'll be some other game content that's up there. If you want to see a game that I am running, once a month I run a game using RPG Crate's material. Jake has been a player in that game for a long time, and joining us this Saturday night for the first time, V from the Crafting Muse is actually joining that game because we have sadly lost a player. Change of jobs, you know how life works. So if you want to check that out, head over to YouTube/Nerdarchy and check out the game Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As
Megan.
far as
your final words.
As far as this game, it was super awesome. I don't think I've ever had the ability to just like, hey, we're gonna take your character and turn him on its side and have a lot of fun with it. So I enjoyed taking the little confident and brash Thorgarn and have him be very indecisive and unsure of himself. I thought it was a lot of fun. So to take the jaunt in another direction, I thought was really great. And as far as the group, as everybody has said, it's a lot of fun to play with. The last couple of weeks where we haven't been playing, I really missed it. This is a regular game is such a stress reliever for me. So being able to do this is just great all around.
Thanks, Ted. Megan.
Hi, I'm Megan. I am one half of the YouTube channel Dice on Ice, where we do live plays and also advice videos. And I love this game. It never ceases to just make me laughed, surprised, and shocked at just all the emotions all at once, happy and all that. So, and it was really, really great playing with you for the first time, Stephen, and it was a real blast. So I love playing with new players. So that was great. So thank you for having me.
And we saved Steven for last because I asked Steven at the last minute last night to if he could join this game. Rarely do I say, hey, I need you to come in and play a specific character, but I knew with this character and with Steven that if he was available, it was a slam dunk. I will say before you get into your final thoughts, to see just how much Steven loves Meepo, you can check out the Castle Mac has a YouTube channel. Is your Sunless Citadel on the YouTube channel?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so you've got that on there.
Called
And
Adventure Engineers.
I was gonna say, is the Adventure Engineers, is that over on YouTube now too?
It is, yep.
Because the last couple weeks, you and Kelsey Dion from the Arcane Library have been dissecting. You spend an hour and dissect the Sunless Citadel, and I watched both of those and sat in the chat during those to see this very almost academic approach to the adventure from two brilliant RPG minds. And it's just fascinating. So I knew that Steven was the person to try to hook into this. So we are so glad you could join us. What were your thoughts on this?
Yeah, no, you definitely got me with Meepo. I love Meepo. Meepo in our game universe survived the Sunless Citadel and now continues to be an ongoing NPC. We just had him show up in Waterdeep and go through one of the side quests with the characters as kind of an NPC. So yeah, Meepo is one of my absolute favorite NPCs, and Kelsey and I spent a long time talking about what makes him so awesome. And it's really his kind of turn where he's like, so weak and just cowering when you first find him, and he's failed at everything, and then you have the opportunity to turn him into a hero, which is just so cool. I love Meepo to pieces. Yeah, thank you guys for inviting me. Jake, you and I haven't played together in a very long time, but I watch everyone here's their content. I love all y'all and tune in when I can. I know you guys, sometimes we stream on same schedule, sometimes not, so I like to tune in and put you guys on while I'm painting miniatures or something like that. I got to give my shout out to Megan. That character was awesome. I really, really liked D&D Data. I've just finished watching Star Trek TNG all the way through, and I was like, oh man, that's Data. That's awesome. I loved it. So thank you guys for having me. Really appreciate it.
And we appreciate you coming by. So in season 1 was our Sunless Citadel of the Dawnbringers. And spoiler alert, Meepo did not survive. Got one-shotted by Calstrix. But Meepo in ours had this. He had endeared himself to Talmud, and I think Talmud is the one who had said, "You are so unlucky," and or you are very unlucky. I think
Bad
was the
luck.
phrase. What was it?
Bad luck.
Yeah, you are bad luck. And that became Meepo's sort of war cry, is Meepo bad luck. Thinking it was some kind of like really high praise. And unfortunately it was probably his last words too. But Meepo is being honored in a different way in the regular universe through Talmud. So you can tune in every Thursday night to see the adventures of the Dawnbringers right here on the Forge of Fury, or on in the Forge of Fury on MTD. I did have one more note I wanted to make, because I had this idea for this whole Jabba's Palace kind of scene to play out, and the idea that Griveth was actually this woman's husband. I use the Lady Vantage and Evangeline. They're interchangeable NPCs that I use in a lot of D&D content. For both good and bad at different iterations. So I loved kind of combining those two into one figure. But the whole thing with Thessalandra and the mithril pick and all of that plot was 100% ad-libbed on the spot in the tavern. I did not plan that.
I guarantee you I'm stealing aspects of that character.
It totally just came up in the situation. I'm like, I need something here. When Ted asked, to look around the place.
Secret sauce, Jake. That was planned from the get-go.
Now, so I've been doing that a lot lately, where I keep my cards close to the vest. But one of the reasons why I like to kind of spill those beans now and then is for people that might be watching that are new to the hobby. And it's a way of saying, as everything falls off my desk.
It's a way of saying crash.
It's just a way to say that you don't have to plan out every aspect of the adventure. Don't create solutions. Create problems, not solutions. Let your players figure out the solutions. This entire adventure outline is 3 points written hastily on my lunch break. So I had a loose outline. And I wanted to do the Rancor Frog Hemoth encounter. Everything else was, playing off of the players and stuff like that. So you got to trust your players, and look what happens. I'm lucky. I'm blessed with some amazing players. And somebody like Steven, that because I'm familiar with his content and have played together with him, that I can trust him as well. I don't have to worry. Just you come in and I let you guys do what you do. And it's amazing. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get out of here, and we are going to end this stream the same way we end every stream. And you can say it with me if you want.